dropping Selfmade. Is he going to go over the wall? The control ward is there. Is now doomed to get knocked out, trying to knock the team out of the pick. Period immediately in the midst of the team. Eyes on Attila, though. He's doing so much damage, and he's uncontested. Exhaust will go down. Selfmade getting picked off on the backside. Period needs to go in. Are they just going to try to finish it? They desperately want to get it, but Selfmade is down. Can they get it? Will they get taken away in the end? Yes, they do, but they pay the greatest price they can. The A's for Vitality, the Baron for SK. I'm going to say not worth.
Are you back on tracks, guys?
I mean, this week it wasn't the hardest. Like, let's be realistic, right? Excel are probably the worst team at the moment. SK, they're decent, but they're not top of the table. So next week, I believe we face Misfits, Fnatic. That week, it's going to be way harder than this one. If we go 2-0 again, then yeah, we're back on it.
Well, this is the time for Attila and Vitality to prove to themselves and to Europe that they are back at the top of the table and contenders. They face Fnatic right now and Misfits tomorrow. I'm joined by Ender at the analyst desk, and I have an incredibly tough question to start this off. Can they go 2-0 this week?
That's a real tall order to face when you're facing Fnatic, the undefeated team here in the LEC, in your first game. If they can beat Fnatic today, then yes, they go 2-0 this week, but I'm going to hold off for now. Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about why you're holding off. This is a team that has momentum, both positive and negative. They either go on win streaks or losing streaks, and they very rarely seem to bounce and go up and down, right? Yeah. So why is that? And what do you think is going to help keep Vitality on a winning streak? Well, it's interesting because we usually, when you look at Vitality, they are streaky, but they always start hot, you know? They come in and they beat you right out of the gate, but then they fall down. They never quite meet the expectations when it comes to the second half of the season and then the postseason. Whereas this split, it's a reversal, right? They started 0-4. Now they've won a couple of games in their last week, so they are on the rise, we can say, after 1 week of play. They've had 3 weeks now, so if they can shore up their main weaknesses, which was the bottom lane, Attila and Jack Troll, first 2 weeks was really rough. Week 3, they were on the rise. During this break now, if they've made sizable improvements, then we can see them start to climb back up. So many hours ago during Ready Check, we looked at a report card for Vitality, and we said the laning phase was one of the areas they had to work on. Excuse me, as well as Cabo Shard continuing to be a strength. Oh man, excuse me. Cabo Shard being a strength. Thank you. Cabo Shard being a strength. He's a pass. In the top lane. So let's talk about the 3 weeks of prep, the new meta as well. Does this lean a little bit more towards Vitality, or at least not the new picks rather? Do you think this can help them out? Well, it's interesting because I think that some of the new picks, maybe Kiana, Mordekaiser, could be big coming in. We've seen much more Mordekaiser than the Kiana, but with some other change, we actually see bot lane being more important, you know? Sivir's been such a big pick recently. We've seen some Enchanter supports come back with the Karma and the Lux. In the previous game as well. Ash in the previous game as well. So I'd say, if anything, it looks like the game is shifting more towards a bot lane focus, which means the spotlight is on these two players. Oh, that means there's a lot of pressure on Attila and Jack Troll to have the week 3 performance and not the weeks 1 and 2. They're coming up against Reckless and Hylissang, another team that is on a roll here in Europe. Fnatic are undefeated. They also just come off the back of a very victorious, very impressive performance over at Rift Rivals. So from the Fnatic perspective, what are they going to be doing to take down Vitality today? Well, I mean, everything is just working for them at the moment, right? And I think a big part of that is just Brox's early game influence and playing around Nemesis in the middle lane. This team really has shown growth from spring towards summer, and every single player now is stepping up. And of course, you can see a clip now of Bwipo solo killing Caps from the week 3 match of the week where Fnatic took down G2. But importantly for me, every single member of Fnatic really stepped up to the plate when they were coming up against the MSI champions in G2. You have to feel that this competition is not quite of the same caliber against Vitality, but Fnatic cannot rest on their laurels because Vitality can surprise. They do have the ability to be competitive at the top of the table. Definitely, and I think it comes down to early game influence, right? Because when you look at where Fnatic is strongest, it's the early game. They are just going to blast you, and Broxa comes in, he's ganking all these lanes. Nemesis is performing very well in the mid lane too. You have to be able to fight them during that period of time, otherwise they're going to run you over. And of course, you have to think that Broxa, Bwipo, Nemesis, a little bit more reliable and consistent during that stage of the game. I want to turn to the mid lane matchup, Nemesis versus Jizuke. These are two players that have a lot of history. They used to compete in the ERLs. They've come up toe-to-toe against one another here in the LEC. And if you had asked me a few months ago who was the better mid laner, I would have leaned towards Jizuke. Now I think it's clearly Nemesis who is going to be the stronger player, and I highly doubt Jizuke would be happy with that statement. Absolutely not, because you look at it, 2018, right? Jizuke was the third best mid laner in EU. You know, the spring split, you could say the same. Now all of a sudden, I think Nemesis has actually surpassed him. Nemesis to me is a solid third best mid laner in Europe. Jizuke has not been able to live up to his performances of splits past and years past, and he has to be able to get back into that comfort zone before he can try to contest.
One of the things I'm looking forward to is draft in this game. Of course, Nemesis has been playing that Twisted Fate to
all the time.
sheer perfection, really, with the Fnatic squad. But he also pulled out the Vigar over at Rift Rivals. And when I think of Jizuke, he's also got his pocket picks, the likes of Echo, for example. Do you think we could see some fun champions in the mid lane?
I mean, I would love to see some fun champions. You say the Echo, I say the Talon too is something Jizuke has played before. And while, yes, those are possible, we're seeing a lot more of control mid lane champions. Like the Azir, the Corki has been coming back, which I think fits into Nemesis' wheelhouse absolutely perfectly. Sure, maybe Jizuke can have some specific counters that he does prepare, but I would be very surprised to see him to go super comfort today.
Okay, so who's going to win today's matchup, and who will be the key player to help pick up the win?
Well, I have to put my money on Fnatic. I think that's the clear choice for this game. And as far as player to win it all, I'm actually going to say Hylissang, because I think that he is the player to exploit the bottom lane of Vitality. He's going to be on the pike or something nuts, and he's going to make it happen.
Okay, let's see whether or not Draft will lean in that direction. Fnatic is the #1 team in the league, and today they go up against Vitality on form. It's going to be a hell of a fight.
No, 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 Ender. Hilly against Jack Troll? Tom Kench is in meta. You can't exploit anything when Tom Kench is down there.
Nelsie has thick skin, and then you just ultimate pike because it goes through shields. But that probably won't happen. We'll see 913. We've yet to see a pike. Obviously saw some pretty decent nerfs for solo lane pike support. Pike was essentially untouched, even small buffs arguably going his way. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time. The intense music is the sign. The countdown has hit 0, and that means champion select is underway. Fnatic on the blue side, Vitality on the red.
Curious if it's just going to be the same bands that we've seen from blue side. It feels like Draven's getting hit off the board. You can maybe tap the Karma over there.
Ooh, Yasuo, that's a new flavor.
I like the TF ban. That means the possibility of seeing another Mord rises up.
Aatrox taken away
We're
as
getting closer.
well. A lot of personal bans here. The Aatrox taken away from Bwipo. The Sylas also now taken away. Jizuke, of course, a fantastic Sylas player.
And then things like Rumble, Sejuani all instantly rise in priority now that Sylas isn't there to just kind of do their job better than they do.
And with Mordekaiser banned away, Fnatic now have their choice of first pick. Of course, champion like Sejuani up and available. Don't think it's going to be a Kai'Sa, but what do you think it's going to be, Frostcurrent? There's so many options.
She's come through.
There it is. Karma. Very, very powerful. Still incredibly strong on 913.
This is not the champion I want to see.
Nope.
Come on, Cabo.
Reckless redeemed his Karma performance last time we played Karma on stage. Maybe he can do it again. Cabo with a Lucian. The question is that an 80 carry Lucian or a top lane Lucian? Cabo Shard is the only player in our league outside of Wonder where I would ask that question. We're going to have to see what else gets shown to us. Now, the Cat as well. This has been a mixed bag for Vitality, I will say. I am a little skeptical about the continued priority on Yuumi. They've struggled with it, but maybe they can show us something different today.
Lucian Yuumi is very, very obnoxious. Just the sheer mobility that Lucian provides, it means that he doesn't need to rely on a support that can disengage for him, so you can freely take someone like a Yuumi, which doesn't necessarily help you get away, but helps empower a lot of your poke damage. So it works very well when Lucian gets to play aggressive, uses double tap, follow up on Yuumi's poke, help extend that range because he can dash forward, and then also disengage and keep both of them safe.
But now Fnatic respond with a bot lane of their own. The Xayah and Rakan immediately going to be locked in, and Vitality, quick response to their own, taking the Azir, a champion that's been rising in priority so incredibly quickly here in the LEC.
I expect the jungle pool to get pinched now, especially as Vitality have priority pick coming out of the red side here, so we should be able to sculpt a favorable matchup for Mowgli as they try to gather this stronger 2v2. We've talked about it all day, the fact that Azir can give you so much priority. If it's not a Renekton, you could also then ban away the Corki just to make sure that you are going to get hard priority in this mid lane for Jizuke.
And the Kiana now taken off the board as well. I like that they're taking the Renekton away from Bwipo, of course, a champion that he is quite comfortable on. Additionally, see what the options are going to be. I think terrifying prospect to go up against Hylissang on Rakan and Reckless on Xayah. We've seen what this duo can do when left unchecked, but Attila and Jack Troll, maybe with their newfound strength, can show us a little bit more and match the 2v2.
I don't know, it's not Jack Troll on the Kench, which means it's that much easier to also punish. So Ender could have called it. Maybe Hilly runs away with this game.
Always a possibility. And interesting too, Jizuke on Azir, not always what I love to see. I much prefer him on the kind of proactive playmaking style champions. Is of course incredibly reliable in the late game. Had a lot of fantastic Azir performances historically, but not something we've seen from him in a long time.
In kind of the same way that I think that a champion like Tristana really empowers Kaabe to do everything that Splice want to do, I feel like a champion like Azir is actually detrimental to how Vitality want to play the game. Azir isn't usually a mid laner that you can play out into a side lane, as well as other mid laners like his Rise, his Echo, those types of things, because they have so much mobility built in. So on something like an Azir, I'm actually, not that I don't believe that Jizuke can play it, but if he has a phenomenal performance, I don't think it's the right champion for a team like Vitality.
No, I have to agree. But maybe it's not the way that they want to play the game. Maybe it's just the way that we see for them to get wins. Maybe they want to show us a new strategy. Once again, this is a team that has had 2 weeks on this patch, has had time to prepare. And I like what they're putting together in terms of elements of the comp. You've got some good engage in the form of the Jarvan now, of incredibly strong comfort pick for Mowgli. See what he can get done in the early game on this champion. And we may just have a situation where Nemesis is once again on the Corki Azir. It's the new Victor Azir, folks. I feel like we're going to see it a few more times in this meta, and most likely now, the Karma into the top lane.
That's what I assume. So we'll kind of hold our breath there. That makes a lot more sense here. Corki Sejuani, very strong 2v2. Sejuani slipped all the way through the draft. Zac would be interesting.
Zac would be new.
The reverted Zac.
Zac would be spicy. But instead, it's going to be Lee Sin, and not just any Lee Sin, folks. Brox's Lee Sin. A Lee Sin so clean, we made a guide about it. Absolutely pick to keep your eye on.
We're getting a lot of treats this game. We got Hilly's Rakan. We get to see Brox's Lee Sin. Feel very excited. I would love if we got to see Cabochard's Rumble. I feel like that would really just round it all out.
And Rumble's one of those champions that kind of just rose in priority out of nowhere in the LEC, and then almost just as quickly dipped off. And not a champion that we've seen all day. Will now be locked in for Cabo. Have to assume that he knew he was going toe-to-toe with the Karma. Feels pretty comfortable in the matchup. Oh.
Rumble's interesting to me because he finds strength, and I believe Upset said this in an interview as well, where there's never really like a point in the game right now where Rumble is weak, simply because the games were going so fast. Now, today we have had some longer games, and it feels like Rumble does still fall off a little bit comparatively to other champions playing side lanes. But for majority of where League of Legends is being played, Rumble is very, very strong. He's strong off of his levels just because his ultimate is such a key factor. He's also strong off of 2 items, especially when he goes into that magic penetration. So that's kind of what you're looking for. My still rule with Rumble though is that you get like 3 ultimates, and if those 3 ultimates don't count, it feels like you do fall away, but it's been less true in most recent history and most recent iteration of League than past ones.
One fan cheering loudly for Yamato. An entire studio full of fans excited for this game. Fnatic versus Vitality, the final game of the first day of week 4. Go Broxa indeed. See what he's Lee Sin can do up against Mowgli's Jarvan the 4th.
Feels like he's looking for the Brox's smash, in all honesty, and he has a lot of priority to play with because he is flanked between a Karma and a Corki. Depending on how Broxa plays this one, he can either go for the ganks or he can just get right up in Mowgli's face and try to beat Mowgli at his own game. Mowgli is the psychopathing jungler, where he just tries to drag you down to his level, fight you at every turn. You do not want to do that against Lee Sin.
All right, well, I thought the cool graphic plus music was going to come up, but I've just been informed that it's not because we have a brief pause, ladies and gentlemen. It appears that Nemesis is the source. Our referee is confirming the issue now, and I'll keep you guys updated as to exactly what is happening here.
We've already got some changes, though. Can I talk about things
Yeah,
in
you
game?
can talk about things that are already happening in game. Yes.
Okay, so I'm looking at the keystones right now in game, and we've seen Azir take the Electrocute into the Corki matchup. This time around, Jizuke is taking the Comet. So still kind of looking for that poke damage, but won't necessarily get the same burst trade or reliable burst trade that the Electrocute on the Azir would. So we'll keep track to see how that changes the nature of this matchup in the mid lane.
I also like the Klepto coming out as well. And I wonder what the lane assignments are going to be too, because Fnatic, of course, one of the first teams in our league to opt for the top mid lane swap, not swapping champions, of course, swapping your lanes in-game. And we paused literally as we entered the game, folks. So it's not like anyone is running to a specific lane or there's any crazy setup for level 1. And now we have a brief break to highlight some Fnatic gear and look deeply into the face of a meditating Nemesis.
We can set stakes here. It's unfortunate that it feels like a Corki versus Azir, where a lot of this matchup can just be the tug of war of pushing minion waves back and forth. It feels like the Jizuke Nemesis. I don't want to call it a rivalry, because I'm sure that there's no animosity between these players, but there certainly is history. These guys both played in the Spanish league. Every time they face, someone gets a solo kill or an isolated kill on someone. I believe Nemesis, the first time he played Jizuke in the LEC, it was Galio versus Aurelia, Nemesis on the Galio, and he solo killed Jizuke.
And then Jizuke got a 30 CS lead. So it was very much a trade of blows when we first saw these two go toe-to-toe, which I love, right? Like, both found an advantage in their own way. I'm excited to see if there's going to be more solo kills. These lanes, these Azir Corki lanes, we saw from Mickey and Nuke Duck. There's a lot of trading if you want to play that lane. But there's not a lot of kills. And ladies and gentlemen, Nemesis had not loaded in the game, but now he has. And that means we can get things kicked off. And that was the music I was waiting for, folks. Here we go. Fnatic versus Vitality. Fnatic, will they remain undefeated in Vitality? You heard it from Attila himself. If they go 2-0 this week, they are back. They are here to look to be a top contender once again.
And outside the strategy, outside of the win conditions, outside of all of those BS words that we like to throw around,
Can't just okay,
I want to talk about the third best mid laner in Europe. I don't think that this game will be the decider, but I do think that there is a very interesting story for Jizuke in particular. We have seen the rise and we have seen the fall of the Italian stallion. I want to see a compelling game from Jizuke. I want to see if we have a contender for this, because right now I'm ready to give the crown to Nemesis. I think Nemesis has really showcased himself, really come into his own, and is the big X factor for this iteration of Fnatic and why they are currently the undefeated team in the LEC.
And of course, not just the mid laners, but the teams as a whole. Week 1 to 2 for Vitality were abysmal. 2 of the worst weeks we've ever seen from this team. Totally and completely lost on the rip, but week 3 was a different story. Finally, we saw this team stepping up, and maybe we see a little bit of the same spark today.
But now focusing in on what is happening into our jungle starts, it is going to be Reckless and Hilly getting to a priority lane here as the Xayah and the Rakan. See what they do with the wave.
Of course, important to talk about how the bot lane was the difference maker. When you look at those different weeks, Attila and Jacktroll seem to be much more not only on the same page with each other, but with the team as a whole. And now in this Yuumi bot lane, can they get it again? Once again, week 3, 4.7k gold advantage. Attila stepping forward, though, has to be careful. Double Dagger is also getting the lethal tempo proc, which is going to give more wave clear to Reckless.
It's also going to be a level 2 advantage for Reckless and Hilly as the wave stands.
We saw last game be very much about level 2s. You can get them first.
They're not going to do anything.
One creep off. Now actually, I'm going to have to see the dash back from Lucian, it looks like, was able to make it to safety. We'll finally now get the level 2 for both of them, but this is not necessarily going to be the most explosive lane for the side of Vitality. Of course, Lucian, very powerful, but Yuumi doesn't contribute a ton of burst, especially when you're opting for the more defensive option of heal exhaust.
Kind of peeking into this mid lane right now, it looks like trades have gone very wrong for Nemesis. He's burned through his corrupting pot very quickly. He is now completely out of it, whereas Jizuke still has 2 pots to his name, so definitely a trading advantage here for the Azir. I don't know if Nemesis just walked way too far forward or just did not respect, but this is why Broxa is here.
Trying to dash out, we'll be able to move away. Sidestep on the Q is clean. Mowgli now on the way in. Broxa without a lot of tools left. The flag and dragon, the instant flash. Good reaction, but still giving him a lot of resources there in that push, and Jizuke just able to push the lane out and back away.
Yeah, that's bad to worse there, because now Mowgli knows exactly where Broxa is. He's able to invade.
Fishing for the 1v1 though, happy to go in, reactivates the Sonic Wave, gets a good bit of damage down. Broxa not going to be intimidated here and will not let Mowgli take away this blue buff.
The only thing that actually dissuaded Mowgli there was the fact that Jizuke wanted to take his back. He's now used his TP, gone back into the lane, but he's sitting on still his 2 pots originally, a Fairy Charm and double Dorans. Jizuke has kind of gotten the first sprint off the start line in this Corki versus Azir matchup, and he's really trying to double down on this.
And now Mowgli's trying to double down on that advantage as well. We see a bit of a attempted engage on the bottom side. Ignite has now been used. Attila forced back as Jackal will now step forward. So the safety of the Lucian, not quite enough to stop these favorable trades from happening outside of Fnatic. Whippo needs to be careful here, though. Mowgli waiting, though. Will he actually commit for the play?
Whippo needs to know that Mowgli's up here. His spidey senses are tingling. He's not...
There's a ward in the bush, too.
Oh,
Mowgli
he
now
is.
going to
He's
go
greedy.
forward. I don't know if he can make his way out of this one. Where is he going to flash? Flash after safety. The snare has connected. Now retreating to Lee Sin. Broxa ready to come over the wall at a moment's notice. Can they turn this one back? The Sonic Wave misses. That's going to be absolutely massive. The immediate flash forward. Can they get it? Mowgli burning down. That's first blood. Combo's going to get one. Can he get two? Broxa needs to find a way out. Checking in his inventory. No wards left for him. But he might just have enough damage to burn him down. Sonic Wave is going to be huge here. We hold for just a brief moment. Ooh, double kill for Broxa. Do not want to duel Lee Sin.
Broxa smash right there. That's what we knew was going to happen. Now 2-0 at 5 minutes in this game. That is a big Lee Sin and suddenly can open up so much potential to skirmish Mowgli in these lanes.
It's going to be incredibly difficult. Not an advantage you wanted to give to early Lee Sin. Brutal exchange there. Whippo almost Houdiniing his way out to safety. Not quite enough. At least Vitality are able to grab the one kill, but now Fnatic getting an advantage here.
That was like a classic Whippo moment from Twitch chat where they're all just spamming, Whippo overextending again into the Broxa hero play.
And in this Alien War replay, we can see exactly what Broxa did to turn this one around.
Well, right now he's sprinting up to Whippo, who's just trying to buy as much time as possible. And the Sonic Wave doesn't connect the first time, too. So much damage.
Yeah, early Lee Sin, still very strong. Conqueror, of course, as well. And just the amount of attack speed steroids, or the amount of attack speed you get from that passive and keeping it consistently up is...
There's also the fact that Cabochard can't get out of melee range. Like, auto attacks just blast him there because he'd already burnt his flash, so he's like, well, this is my life now. I'm here.
Fully
Getting
stacked
slapped.
Conqueror versus Comment. I don't think the Keystones are favorable there either. Very difficult scenario. And now, you really have to be careful here because Brox is terrifying. We've seen a Rift Rob's we can do. Now he's back on the LEC stage. He's doing the same amount of work. Whereas Hylissang's engaged going to be the flashes there for the Rakan. Stepping forward, Attila has to know something's up. He needs to be careful with his dash, and he will make it out to safety. Good patience from Attila to make sure he saved the dash to actually dodge a skill shot there.
Very difficult lane to try to execute anything on. Yuumi, Attila, able to save or protect themselves, play defensively. I don't think there's going to be many options here for Broxa. I think his focus will be in this mid and top lane.
See what he can do, because Nemesis, as you mentioned, was at a deficit already, and once again, it's at a deficit. And while normally I would be excited about something like Kleptomancy building up an advantage, he just hasn't really been able to auto-attack Jizuke too much. And now the CS discrepancy just continues to grow. You mentioned the early start for Jizuke quite favorable. It's only going to get more so when he finally gets that second back.
Yeah, and he's also itemized for that, again, making a very early back for the double Dorans and the Fairy Charm to make sure that he has enough mana that he can play aggressively in the lane. So this is what Jizuke wanted, and it's going pretty accordingly to plan. It isn't a commentary on Nemesis not playing the lane correctly or anything like that. Nemesis is then just that much farther ahead in his Trinity Force build because he isn't building double Dorans.
See what he can do with it, however, for now. Bit of an explosion of action on the top side, but the rest of the lanes have calmed down a bit. Rumble's still able to match the Karma in the 1v1. Broxa really the strongest member of Fnatic relative to his opponent right now.
Really good vision.
But Mowgli's actually building up to a bit of a farm advantage too. 2-camp lead. Broxa will get some of that back. Now here comes the play in the mid lane. Nemesis is actually incredibly low. Has to be careful. Jizuke is going to be able to find a kill here. Broxa only level 5. Jizuke really does not need to be that scared. A lot of potential damage with a challenging smite. Could try to fish for the Sonic Wave execution, but Broxa will just back off. Now will we see the engage on the bottom side? Jackal taking so much damage. Needs to be careful. The UME cooldown quite long early game. Mowgli now moving forward has the level 6 but no red buff. Jizuke, will they commit for the play? Broxa just getting the level 6 off of soaking mid lane EXP. That's going to keep him alive.
And this is Mowgli, again, using the advantage that Jizuke has in terms of mid-wave priority. Package now picked up for Nemesis. I expect that Jizuke has this time down, and he's probably going to make his back here, but it's been a very tense back and forth in this mid lane and trying to open up space for either jungler.
And I like that they're both committing to playing around mid in a lot of these exchanges. Going for the longer play, Mowgli willing to dive that tower. That's what we know from Mowgli, is that aggressive pathing. And while he individually is still probably behind in gold, given how much Brox has been able to get, has been making good plays. Brox, though, looking for a play of his own. He's just going to get the kick back. Can expect the snare to come through in a second, try to lock him up. Big equalizer, but it will not be enough. A lot of damage coming in from Brox, and now he's on a killing spree.
And that's the easiest call from Broxa. He knows that Jizuke still has access to Flash, that it is the likes of the Azir, his core key struggling there, but he knows that Rumble doesn't have Flash. He soaked the EXP in the mid lane, he got level 6. As soon as he had that CC of the ultimate, he was gonna run top no matter what.
All too easy for him to set up. Now he has a bounty, though. They might want to shut Broxa down, but an early Warrior enchant. 9 minutes in, he has the Warrior plus an additional longsword. Incredibly powerful Lee Sin. This is not a champion anyone on the map wants to 1v1. Mowgli, though, will once again try to respond with an objective of his own. He's looking for that Cloud Drake. And you'll have to find out what happens next time on the LEC. As we take yet another brief pause here. We'll see what the cause is. Keep you folks up to date.
Well, I don't know if he's going to be contested for the Cloud Drake.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go for that one. Frosco, I'll be honest, Broxa was very much on the top side. He's just coming out of base now.
Well, this is also why it makes the priority to go top side and to get that kill on Cabochard that much clearer, because, again, you're just playing for Cloud on bot side. Reckless and Hilly are fine to sit back there and farm.
And, of course, Mowgli's screen just went black for a brief moment, so we're examining the issue. Should be back to in-game shortly.
That's
and now
weird.
We're going back in. Maybe it went gray. Well, he hasn't actually. Yeah, well, no. Only died the one time. But to be fair, if I was a jungler and my team told me to go solo, take a Cloud Drake, I'd probably be like, yeah, I'm over it too.
You unplug the monitor, you walk away.
Whoops. Could gank bot instead.
There's not a lot of options. So what Vitality could look to do is, as soon as that TP is back up for Cabochard, you know, possibly you're looking for a play with the Jarvan Rumble combo. We see how potent that used to be in the past. You just create a nice little hoop, and you just dunk the Rumble ultimate into it.
Create a circle, and then you kind of color inside the lines, as we all learned.
I'm a paint by numbers type of person. That's how I draft my compositions.
Ooh! God, that's a beefy kick. Thank you for the spicy animation there. Of course, Cloud Drake will be taken in the meantime, but enjoy that sweet, sweet Broxa killing spree to kick off a game. 1K gold advantage, just short of it, actually, for Fnatic. Vitality. We'll grab the first Cloud. Time to see what their mid-game plays are going to look like, because Hylissang is committed. This is the most Hylissang play I've seen since Rift Rivals. Suzuki stepping forward, there's Hylissang in the midst of everything.
Oh, he got him!
Flashes into melee range to stop anything from happening, making sure Suzuki can't get out, but he dashes to safety. The shield is there, Mowgli needs to go in. Can they body block? They're gonna stop it. He lives! But Suzuki makes it out alive. I cannot believe it. Doesn't even have the flash.
Oh no.
No.
No!
Okay.
That bush has claimed 2 lives today.
Yeah. Cannot back in that bush, folks.
That was flashy, though. Credit to Jizuke. Like you said, retains his flash, gets out. I'll hold it, though, Reckless.
Definitely in trouble. Prowling projectile now coming in, but that is a big Lee Sin. Connects to Sonic Wave. Oh, God, you got to keep your eyes on a Jack Troll. Where are you going to go? He goes back with the you and me. I feel like Broxa hesitated there for a second on the Dragon's Rage, and it will mean that both members escape with their lives.
Thing is that Reckless is still sitting on his ultimate, so he was just sitting there like, you want some fried chicken? I'm looking delicious. Commit to me. I dare you.
Yeah, yeah, all right. Didn't work out, though, and Jizuke went from dominating this lane to getting blasted in
You wanted to
trades.
see that Dragon Rage?
Here we go, the blast! Oh! He hits him with the kick punch. You can't do that. Now the engage on the bottom side, though. Mowgli is coming down. Hylissang has been caught out and is now killed. Eyes on Mowgli, the flash forward. The Cataclysm locks him in the arena. Says, how about a little bit of a duel? Is going to grab the kill in the end. Ticking down on that Cinderhulk burn. Wanted to donate the kill to Attila, but it's already a bloodbath. This is exactly what I want from a Fnatic Vitality game.
That is the chicken for chicken trade. They took the golden chicken in the mid lane, but Vitality like, that's fine. We can take the 2 birds on the bottom.
Are you hungry by any chance?
I am very hungry.
Check out the Pro View replay of Broxa.
So
He's going to push R, and he's going to right-click, folks. He might not even have to right-click.
he gap closes with the W, then flashes, and then immediately just uses the ultimate.
He saw what happened to Hylissang. He's like, I'm not going to give this guy any chance to outplay. And you can see what Broxa sees. He only has one perspective to fight holding up the number 4. It does look cool, though.
I don't know if he's waving or...
He's like, please, sir, get the camera out of my face. I'm not interested in this. I'm playing a Lee Sin game. He just winked at us. How perfect. All right, Broxa Pro View, if you want to see how a Lee Sin player gets it done. Of course, on the opposite side, though, we got Vitality coming in on the top side.
Stat I want to see?
What?
I bet when Broxa plays Lee Sin, the number of Lee Sins that get locked into solo queue
Like within an
exponentially
hour after?
rises.
And I bet Lee Sin's win rate immediately tanks. Look, I've been there. We see a champion played on stage, you're like, wow, Caps is insane at Akali. I would love to learn Akali. No, my friend. That takes time. The first Akali game, not a fun one.
I was actually watching Reckless stream earlier this morning when preparing for LEC, and there was a Volibear support in his game. I was like, LCK, ruining lives right now.
It's the nightmare of the unique picks. Of course, the Rumble is going to be quickly used here just to clear the wave. Nice bit of utility there. We'll stop Cabo from being really under any dive threat. Of course, the Merc Treads stop the CC from coming through to a certain degree, but are not going to stop all of the damage that Reckless can potentially do.
So this is what's happening right now. This is a tempo play from Vitality.
You have to hold that thought though. Mowgli coming through. Jizuke trying to get some damage over the wall. The flash over from Jizuke. A lot of good damage coming down. Eyes on the Sonic Wave though. Walks, so where is he going to go? Stepping forward, and Jizuke is going to be able to at least grab one. Jackal tries to save the day, but it's not going to be enough.
He's
now
down.
The final chapter coming out. Broxa, the shutdown, goes through for Mowgli. Bubba will fire on the backside, but it will not matter as Attila is able to break a tower. They're now trying to trade back.
Oh! He's out!
He made it out. A move aside so as there is a new Houdini
Okay.
in the LEC.
That was cool. I'll give it to Nemesis. That said, still a win for Vitality across the map. They managed to not only trade in terms of the action that happened into the mid lane, but using the Rift Herald up into the top side. That tower did fall. I believe it was the big beneficiary of Attila, who now looking at his itemizations, feeling much better on that Lucian. So there is life back in this Vitality squad after what Fnatic just ran away with in terms of an early game for Broxa.
Yeah, for a 5-1 Lee Sin game, this is not at all how you expect it to be matched, but good plays coming through here.
So you can see on your mini-map that the Rift Herald is taking down this tower, while Fnatic then decide to go all in on this mid lane play.
That is some clean movement on the Azir for Jizuke. The flash over the wall, too, to commit for the aggressive play. Gives his life, but still looks pretty good.
Just feels, I'm going to say greedy.
Yeah, definitely greedy to flash over the wall, but Mowgli's probably dead if he doesn't, so... And this is a bit of a heartbreaker, folks, unless you're a Fnatic fan, in which case this is not even close, baby.
So close.
Someone play the donkey clip. That's all we need at this moment. And here, Frosco,
Yeah.
1,400 gold lead. This game is so much closer than you expect it to be. I just have to say that again, because once again, 5-1 Lee Sin games usually end at like 20 minutes. This is not the same thing. Now, Fnatic getting a lot of turret plates, but a lot of the gold being funneled into Attila on the side of Vitality.
I mean, I think just the issue is that kind of in the last big map play that Vitality just kind of got the better. I think that Fnatic forced a bit into the mid lane, whereas if they actually just play these team fights a little bit slower, they're going to feel a lot more comfortable. But as Caboshard is actually level 11, I don't know. I'm actually kind of on the fence the more that I think about it. I think Vitality could still get a good foot into this game depending on how they layer their upcoming ultimates. Level 11 Rumble, that's going to hurt.
And you said the first 3 Rumble Arts is super important. The first one he used as he was dying in the top lane. The second one he used to clear a wave. The third one we've yet to see. So potentially a chance for Cabo to get something done.
If it doesn't connect, if this isn't like the game-changing moment, then yeah, I think Fnatic can actually just like close
this
the
might
book
be the
here.
game-changing moment. Huge amount of damage on the Hillsang. He needs to make it out. The knockup is there. Will dash out to safety. Coling will only connect 1 bolt onto Blippo. So not what they wanted, but didn't use the equalizer.
Fnatic want to disengage because Nemesis is up here into the side lane, so they were never going to try to go for that engage or match toe-to-toe for that fight.
Good call to pull back. And Attila once again will get the freedom to go into a side lane. Jizuke holding up mid. See what Nemesis can do here. Mowgli there as well, so it's going to be the 2v2 top lane jungle versus mid lane jungle. Broxa finding Mowgli first, so that's going to be bad news for the side of Vitality. Conqueror already stacked. Mowgli just has to make his way out. Flag and drag to safety, needs to sidestep the Sonic Wave, and will do so. That's going to give him his life. And Cabo left alone in the tower. Final chapter now coming in. There looks like they're going to be in trouble. Hillsang has taken out Jizuke, and it's Jack Troll all on his lonesome, leaping back to Attila, but there are 3 members strong for Fnatic in the mid lane. He's just going to have to retreat.
Just didn't respect the damage and the engage potential there from Fnatic to walk up to the tower. Jizuke, that one is going to hurt.
And Jack Troll immediately using the exhaust, knowing that he's forced to do so. The Dragon's Rage still up and available for Broxa, and Fnatic were going even just moments ago, but now they have found themselves a significant advantage, 31.2k to 27.7, pulling very far ahead.
At this point in the game, it feels like with kind of the items being complete, that power should shift a bit more into Fnatic's hands, especially because Corki now has the completed Trinity Force and is looking at his second item. That was a really nice ult.
Yeah, this is on the cusp. Getting taken out by the Azir there.
Okay, so it wasn't Jizuke not respecting the engage potential, it was Jizuke just getting outplayed.
Yeah, trying to put the horses in the back did not work for Mr. Stallion himself. And now for Jizuke, things are going from bad to worse. He's 0-3-1. And he's the Luden's Echo, and he's the Fiendish Codex. What I like is his 30% cooldown reduction. It's a nice thing, but he has no attack speed. There's literally none anywhere. He can't even take it in runes with the two trees that he's opted for. So he throws out that Q, he hopes it kills you, the ulti 2, and then he's done.
That is the one-hit wonder.
Oh, and Frosco. I'm waiting.
I respect you taking a lunge at that joke.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I was just going to let it go, but I appreciate you appreciating it. Speaking of jokes, try surviving against a Broxa who will have Sterix Gauge and just a couple hundred gold. Yeah. Not very funny.
It's really hard to fight him in extended fights.
It's really hard to fight him in short fights, too. That's the terrifying thing about a Fed Lee Sin.
The natural kit will make his burst damage really hard, but also, like, he gets his Conqueror stacked, and he just slaps you to death.
Yeah, now Broxa somehow did not get knocked up there. The kit comes out, waiting for the Sonic Wave. Is he going to go back in? He might. He's thinking about it. It's on the cat. Is he going to go for a little bit more? He'll say, oh my god, what a beautiful engage now coming through. Can they turn it? Vitality trying to get something done. Mowgli on the backside. Broxa taken down. Attila is still alive. Can they retreat? Jack Troll jumping back in, but the cat is next on the menu, and Nemesis wants to take. He's going to get it taken out in the end. What a beautiful fight from Fnatic. Vitality absolutely obliterated.
And we are finally on the board here for Reckless. He picked up his first kill. You can see it right there. He is 9 kills away from 1,500.
May not get the chance though. Jizuke trying to pull him back. Flashes out to safety. And Fnatic, what an incredibly decisive fight.
They just dissected that fight. It was beautiful to watch from pretty much every single member of Fnatic. Nemesis, Heli, and Broxa. Definitely the big shout-outs there.
Clean engages once again. Hylissang an all-star for this team, and the rest of the team good contributors overall. Broxa, a threat that just has to be respected. Mowgli doesn't get to play team fights because Lee Sin just stops him from doing so.
And unfortunately, it feels like Vitality are really running out of steam. The things that this composition needed to thrive is you needed that scenario where you were using the Cataclysm on top of the Equalizer, on top of the Azir, then having all of his Sand Soldiers stacked up, but it just is never connecting for them.
And a good look back at this fight, you can see that, I mean, Brock's obviously doing very well. Sidesteps the knockup. Doesn't quite have enough damage to Sonic Wave. Yumi's here just in time to find the heal, but this Hylissang engage is just fantastic.
Yep, catches everyone around the corner. The fact that Cabochard gets to do basically nothing, drops his ultimate, it tags people for just a little bit, but the fight has already moved on. That Rumble ultimate doesn't mean anything.
Confident platform for Nemesis too, just to clean up the fight. Not worried about it. And this is the thing about Fnatic, is this particular edition of Fnatic feels like they can play through pretty much any lane when the time calls for it, and this is one of those games where it is flashback to the Caps edition of Fnatic, where it is Brox and Nemesis with so much the advantage here, just spreading it across the map.
It's also the fact that this Fnatic still retains that 5v5 power of the previous Fnatic that we've seen. Like, we always know that they're going to be strong team fighters, but this one specifically also looks great at skirmishing. And you know, that's easy for this game when you have a Lee Sin that is 5-2. Obviously, skirmishes are going to be very good, but I don't know, the 3v3s, the 2v2s, they're very impressive.
Yeah. And the package now there for Nemesis as well, so Vitality do not want to take a skirmish, they do not want to take a team fight, they really don't want to take anything right now under Fnatic's terms, and so they're just going to back off here, look to hold this tier 2 as best they can. Coaling is available from Attila. I don't know if he's going to try to use it here. We'll hold on to the cooldown for now. Hylissang constantly stepping forward. It's a little bit extra range he's going to grab here from having the Xayah with him. Make it a lot easier for him to kind of play around these skill shots.
But eventually they're going to kick Nemesis out into one of those side lanes. You can see that he's going to go pick up his blue buff, but you know, Fnatic don't need to 5-man stack into these lanes. They can play side lane. They can try to split up Vitality again, continue to abuse with their skirmish potential. And Broxa should just be on the hunt as soon as this map resets.
Vitality going to stop Hylissang's back for now. They're going to push in and get a bit of vision for themselves, so maybe they can find an opportunity to hunt. A single pick could be important to turn things back in their favor. Nemesis on his lonesome. The back has been started. Will Vitality pull the trigger in the next few seconds? If not, he's just going to make it out once again. He's going to do it again. Man, this guy will not die.
That's a really good back timer. And then he what, immediately teleports? Yep. Good night.
Goes in. Jizuke. He's just going to walk around the wall. He's getting faster. He's knocked up and he's knocked out. Jizuke once again taken out, and a rampage now for Nemesis in the mid lane. You want to talk about third best mid. I feel like Broxa may have influenced the results just a little bit, but Nemesis is popping off this game.
I mean, what are you supposed to do there? He was like, Corki was just top lane. Weren't you guys actively just about to gank him, and then he kills him in the mid?
TP, still a powerful summon with a summoner spell. No matter how many times you nerf it, still looks great. Now they're going to be able to break tier 2, just barely. And Fnatic extend the goal lead once again. 8K in their favor. Only Attila really matching his respective lane opponent. The rest of the map quite far behind. And you can see now with the stairs completed for Brox, he's only going to get more terrifying.
I mean, all of Fnatic are on the cusp of being absolutely terrifying with the itemization. You can see that Nemesis is just about to get his Infinity Edge onto the Corki. At 3 items is basically where he destroys teams.
And yeah, and he's already been doing a lot of destroying, so things may go from bad to worse, and I think this is a game, Frosker, and we might just be waiting for 1 or 2 Vitality picks, buy a bit of time, maybe go a little bit later, but I don't even know if that strategy pays off if you go late. You're against a Karma and 2 80 carries, basically.
It doesn't. It feels like Vitality really have the wind kind of taken out of their sails right now. You are looking a bit at desperation from Vitality. They usually are a pretty crazy team when it comes to those moments, so I don't want to immediately count them out, especially when you still have an Azir. But due to Jizuke's itemization, you know, it's kind of not the same trajectory as you would see other Azir builds.
Waiting for that second item. I mean, closer to the Nashor's Tooth, obviously a decent spike for the champion overall, but still very difficult. A long time before we'll see that champion really carry a fight.
He might get caught out here. There you go.
Good dash out to safety. Extending the range there, shifting sands as well as the conquering sands. And now Fnatic setting up for a bit of a siege in the mid lane. A lot of poke on this team.
This is the thing that they don't have a traditional tank, so starting up Baron this early is still relatively dangerous for Fnatic because they could get chunked out quite heavily, and then you're fighting on a chunked out team fight health bar next to a Rumble and a Jarvan. So this is why you see a lot of respect coming out of Vitality in terms of just immediately turning onto the Baron. You need to make sure that you have the perfect setup where you can get it without too much fighting, or you need to wait until a couple more items come in where you can just burn it for free.
Definitely. Well, they have the vision set up now. They have 1 ward not clear. Is that really not spotted?
What is with the wards today?
Wow. All right. You know what? Brilliant ward. I'm going to give him that. Good job, Vitality. That's frustrating for Fnatic. If they try to start a Baron up and that ward is the key for Vitality to make a comeback, whoever placed that is MVP of this game.
I was going to say, are we going to get a replay of him hitting the the ward?
Well played, observers. Here we go. Yeah, they walk him down. I mean, not a lot he could do. I do wonder if, really realistically, if the Corki was necessary in that play. Felt like he might have already been dead to rights, but I guess giving him the respect he deserves. And now Fnatic have just about total control of the top side of the map. Vitality with a little bit of mid lane priority are trying to take some of that vision back. Very easy for Fnatic just to walk into that jungle, take it for themselves. The control ward will spot it. Placed oddly right next to it. Baron feels like it's on the table. As you mentioned, no true tank. Maybe Karma, they'll feel a bit more comfortable if she can shield them up for the fights. And Double Ocean will also make it a bit easier.
They also are about to hit all of their power points, so Reckless is looking at 1 more item, and as soon as that 700 gold comes in, it'll be the back. There it comes, and then it's a map reset, get all of the waves pushed forward. You took the Ocean for free. Now it's going to be the Baron, or at least setting up for possibly a pick or drawing Vitality in. Like, their waiting game is over. Vitality no longer get any more free farm time. These are the items. This is the assembly, the team that they have to go into this fight.
Yeah, relative to the opposition, I just don't feel like you get any stronger than this. And, God, 3 items for both the primary carries. The Ardent Sensor for the Karma in the top lane as well for Bwipo. These guys are terrifying. And in classic Hylissang fashion, not interested in hanging around the Baron vision. He's hanging out in that brush. That's the Hylissang brush. If he wins Worlds, that's what we're calling it. Just saying.
When Fnatic win, they don't actually get skins. They just get to name each bush.
Each brush.
That's the Broxa brush. That's the hilly brush.
That's the hilly brush. You know, we'll see. I'm getting ahead of myself. They still have to win this game, although they're very much on the way to do so. 8K gold lead being maintained. Triple Drake, 6 towers to 1. You can see it for yourself, folks. It's commanding lead for Fnatic. The Baron, though, will be the make or break. Or Broxa finding a quick engage here. Lost chapter. Ooh, final chapter rather coming out. Big engage / disengage tool now no longer available. And here comes Hylissang moving forward. A good dash out from Matilda. Maybe able to turn the fight. Hylissang dashing back to safety. Equalizer will get a bit of damage down, but Combo Shard is chunked out. TP available, however. Not sure if Fnatic will go straight to starting this one. Control ward in the pit.
That's a massive ultimate down, however. So Fnatic see that they have a big window to play around with the equalizer is not there, and they say, we can do this.
Be careful though, Attila. Really confident step forward there. Will sidestep. Jacktroll also. Fnatic are looking to back off here. Or no, they're going to keep it leashed.
So Fnatic can actually continue to approach and disengage from this Baron because of their mobility to get on and off of it.
Ooh, Attila's dodged so many knockups. Hit Mobley going forward. Jizuke flashing forward in the team. I don't know if he has enough damage. Oh no! He saw the picture-perfect play. He hits the 4-man ult, but he doesn't have the damage. The snipe is there. Nemesis will find yet another kill, and he is on the hunt once for a little bit more. He's just going to Valk over, trying to burn down Attila. Maybe he can burn down himself, though. Combo trying to fire back. Reckless backs him up, though. Flashes over the wall. Can't just pull the Feathers back when he wants to get his fight kicked off. Feathers fly, will not be pulled back, and that is it. Vitality are completely routed in their own base. Fnatic gonna have to wait for a creep wave here to get anything done, but luckily Bwipo has brought it in for them, and they could just end the game.
Just a dominating performance. It started with Broxa. It carried over to all of his lanes. Everyone picked up their duty, and Fnatic are just going to roll Vitality over.
And with this potential victory, Fnatic may just remain undefeated in the LEC. Can't call it a sure thing yet, as the game is not over. Vitality will have enough time. Jizuke died early enough to respawn. Fnatic will be forced to retreat. But
This is the desperation.
You wanted this.
Oh, Jizuke's running up mid. I'm here, guys.
Never mind. That's going to be it, folks. If they want to end the game, they can. The Uni play was a little bit of an overextend. Fnatic remain undefeated.
You hate to see it.
Not the ending that they wanted. Felt like it could have been the start of a heroic moment for the Vitality squad, but it was cut short. Cats have 9 lives, and one of them went away in that final moment.
But Fnatic continuing to look just as terrifying, coming home from Rift Rivals and decimating every single opponent.
Yeah. Yeah, 7-0, and rightfully so. It's not the same way that G2 like to play the game, but you see these explosive moments, specifically that team fight around the top side tribe rush, where Fnatic went from a small lead to massive lead to, you know, winning the game.
Credit to executing on the game plan. It felt like it was all coordinated from draft. Again, we see so much Azir priority. It feels like we're going to see Azir Corki almost every single game in the LEC right now. You paired that with Brox's Lee Sin. You know, Mowgli was trying to pick his moments. Jizuke went for the double Dorans. He was trying to control into that mid lane, open up potential for Mowgli, but Mowgli just couldn't have the same impact. That early double kill into Brox's hands, I think really just sealed the game, because at any point, if Jarvan shows up to a fight and Brox is also there, it's just an auto loss.
Yeah, because the value in theory for Jarvan is more teamfight utility as opposed to raw damage or the value of displacement on the Dragon's Rage. And when you just die before you can do anything, game very quickly falls apart. We did not get to see the Rumble-Jarvan combo. They never got to fight at the same time.
I mean, unfortunately, when something that disastrous happens that early in the hands of a team like Fnatic, it's almost like a GG go next.
Definitely feeling like it. Broxa smiling, chatting. The Lee Sin, once again, immaculate. I wonder how long it is before we see Lee Sin bans from Broxa. And Fnatic continue to feel good in this season. May just look to finish out 8-0, maybe a perfect first half of the split. We'll have to find out. Remember, Fnatic right now, #1. Bwipo, though, not 100% confident. The G2 in a best of 5 will go their way. Still wants to grow more, has more to show on this team. But for now, undefeated in the LEC.
Yeah, I don't know how much farther the ceiling really is for Fnatic. They feel like a very well coordinated, very well clean, precise team. I mean, yeah, there's maybe some like individual missteps, you know, like Bwipo not necessarily always playing weak side when is appropriate, but otherwise they're swapping around, they're pulling out really cool picks, they're able to freely move their mid and top in between positions. So this feels like a very different evolution of Fnatic, and I feel like if there's any time for them to actually go into a best of 5 against G2 and not everyone be like, ah yes, G2 3-0, like it's right now. We are looking at the perfect storm of a meteoric rise of Fnatic versus G2.
How far they rise is going to be the question as we move into future weeks. But in a few minutes, Origin's Cold and Gyoto are joining Quickshot in the LEC post-game lobby. So be sure to stay tuned to see what Origin has to say, how they see their run. But before we do that, Frosco, it's time for my favorite part of the day, and that's Key Player of the Game. @LawEsports on Twitter is the place. Broxa, Nemesis, Hylissang.
So Brox is going to get it. That said, special shout out to Hilly. I think he had an incredible game on the Recon. I think the big key team fights that really kind of swung it for Fnatic and really snowballed them ahead was off the back of Hilly's engage. So Broxa, you will get it. You are a Lee Sin god. You were just as important in the win, but shout out to the support.
Hylissang, Recon God. Nemesis plays a lot of Corki and is looking good. Honestly, did what he needed to do, was a strong contender for the team, but you just can't beat a dominant Lee Sin early game, I think. It's literally the dream. It's why you pick the champion. It's like when people pop off on Olaf and everyone's convinced the champion is insane forever because he just makes it so you can't ever play the game again.
I just want to know the stat. How many people are going to lock in Lee Sin and solo queue right now?
We'll ask Blaustoise. Maybe he's still in data. He can answer the question for us.
Maybe he does something occasionally.
Maybe he works for Riot Games still, I think. But outside of the numerous Lee Sins who will be worse than Broxa, I'm sorry, guys. We'll have to see how things change here in the LEC. But for now, we're going to head over to the post-game lobby with Quickshot and see what OG has to say.